with Brandon Paulson, National Wrestling Hall of Fame Honors Weekend. So what was it like when you got the phone call and Leroy or someone from the hall said, "Hey, Brandon, we'd like you to come down and be honored"?
Well, yeah, Leroy called me. He actually left me a message, and I called him back, and I didn't really know what it was for. I was thinking, there was maybe he had a question about an inductee or something else. Maybe one of our kids was going to be Wrestler of the Year or something like that. But then when he told me that I was going to be inducted, I was surprised and got goosebumps all over. And it's a feeling that I won't forget. And I had a big smile on my face for a long time.
Yeah, what you should have all weekend, right?
Correct.
This is a good time.
It should be a fun weekend. Honored to be with the people I'm being honored with, and it should be great.
So, people first got to know you when you were a youth wrestler. I mean, you came up through the USA Wrestling system and everything. Yeah. Well, what was your journey into the sport? Was it a simple story, or was there?
Well, yeah, when I was 5, my dad got me into hockey, and it was too cold for me. So at 6, I started wrestling, and I started in freestyle and Greco. I started in the international styles. So my year was January to June, and mainly freestyle. But then when I was about 10, got into Greco, and for me as growing up, Cadet and Junior Nationals was my biggest tournament of the year. It wasn't a state tournament. It wasn't some other tournament. It was Cadet and Junior Nationals. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to win. That was my goal. I wanted that stop sign. It's still a big thing. It's still what I push in my club, too, is getting that stop sign.
Did you ever count them all up? How many you got? How many stop signs?
I believe it's 16 stop signs. So there's a couple of them, so I achieved my goal a few times. So
because you were getting them both in freestyle and Greco.
Freestyle, Greco, and I went all the way through. I went to the S bar, the 20 and under, which is now the junior. I started that when I was in 10th grade, and I wrestled the senior level start when I was in 11th grade. But I basically grew up at the USA Wrestling system, and to be honest, USA Wrestling without them, my wrestling career would have been a lot different and not as involved, and no chance to achieve what I have.
Making national team while in high school, we're seeing it some. Kids are getting better and younger, but it was a big deal when you were able to do that. Back in the day, those Greco guys were all about 30.
Yes.
It took them a long time to get to the top 3. What were your thoughts when you were able to do that, or did it just feel like part of what you were going through in the sport?
I was young and dumb, and all I knew was just to wrestle hard and to keep going, and I loved the sport, and I loved competing. I competed a lot when I was in high school. As youth, not as much, but when I was in high school, I competed a lot, and I remember my dad just like, "Okay, we're going to go to Vegas, and this year you're going to go to the 20 and under world team trials in freestyle and Greco, and let's wrestle the senior open in freestyle and Greco." I was like, "Okay, let's go," and ended up doing okay in Greco, and then at the World Team Trials to be able to make that national team. It was pretty cool. I had competed or trained with the guys at national team camps. I was invited, I think my sophomore year was the first time, and so I had already wrestled with them, so I kind of knew I could stick with some of them, but I was going up in weight a little bit, and so it was a great accomplishment. I was very proud of it, and you still, even as a youngster, you think you can do anything. So, I still wanted to make the world team when I was a junior in high school, and, it wasn't going to happen. I didn't make my first world team until the Olympics when I was 22, but, that was my mindset, is that when I stepped out on the mat, I was out there to do my best and, and to win.
So people think of you and remember you for your international achievements, but you were on some pretty good Minnesota Gopher teams and stuff, and you had a nice college career. Just talk about the experience of being part of the Gophers.
Yeah, going in to Minnesota, I went there because I thought we had a chance to win a national title as a team, and that was very important to me. And we got close a couple times, I think a second and a third. My freshman year, we were actually ranked number 1 in the country. We beat Iowa and Oklahoma State in consecutive weeks, but didn't have the best nationals that year. But, I had my ups and downs, and hard to, I improved and I wrestled really well, and sometimes nationals, you never know what's going to happen. Ended up being an All-American, and I was at blood round a couple times, so those blood round is tough, and you look at it right now, how deep it is. Some of those guys that aren't placing, and I feel for them, because there's so much that goes into the NCAA tournament, because if you wrestle in the Big Ten schedule, and some of the, ACC is now tough as well, but your body just gets beat up. And to stay healthy, and that's everybody. It wasn't just me, but to stay healthy that whole time, to be able to compete in that Big Ten tournament and to be an NCAA American is an amazing achievement. And going and watching right now is still awesome for me because I know how tough it is. It's an amazingly tough tournament and fun, great to watch too.
So, what are your remembrances of the Olympic Games when you came back with a medal and made the finals? And I mean, you have the opportunity to look back at it these days.
It's awesome. I can remember walking in that opening ceremonies, and I remember there's this ramp, right? We had to go up this ramp. It was about 35 feet high, 50 feet high. I don't know how high it was, but I was walking with Dave Zuniga, and you get to the top of the ramp, and you see the Olympic Stadium, and you see American flags. You see everybody cheering because you have 700 of the best U.S. athletes in the country now walking down the ramp onto the track, and I can vividly picture it in my mind right now, and that was an amazing experience, and I will
you had
never
a good
forget
tournament
it.
too, right?
And in the tournament, I was so pumped up for the Olympics. The Olympics was a dream. Any sport, I was an Olympic nut, so the Olympics were a dream of mine, and to go out and compete, it was my attitude going out there. I think that's why I had a good tournament, because I was just excited to get out there and let's show the U.S. what I could do, and I had a great tournament. I remember that semifinal match, winning that match and being so excited because I knew I was going to be in the finals. I was going to be an Olympic medalist, and giving a hug to my dad and high-fiving everybody, and it was an amazing experience, and I wanted to get the gold, but I went out there that gold medal match and I gave everything I had. I wrestled as hard as I could, and didn't get the gold, but man, it was an experience, and I felt great about how I wrestled, and hopefully represented the U.S.
Well, and you did at world tournaments too, right? And people know you as an Olympic medalist, but you got a world medal too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not very easy for Americans in Greco.
No, I won a junior world medal, I won a silver, and I actually lost to the same guy I lost to in Olympic finals. So the junior worlds are for real. Lost to Armin Nazarian in both of those. And then actually, really, my best tournament, I think, was 2001 World Championships. It was in Greece, and I wrestled 3 or 4.
That was after the 9/11, right?
That was 9/11, and
01 though. No, 01 was Greece, right?
Yep, okay. 2001, which was, we were supposed to have it in Madison Square Garden that year, and it was delayed a couple months and ended up going to Greece, and I won a silver medal, but I beat 3 or 4 guys that were very good, and one ended up winning the Worlds a couple years later. I think that was maybe one of my top 2 or 3 tournaments that I ever wrestled, and I was very excited to get to the finals there. Wrestled a tough Iranian and made a couple mistakes, but man, that was an awesome event as well.
So a lot of people remember a match where you didn't win. That was the longest match of all time against your buddy Dennis Hall at the Olympic trials. And I mean, gosh, 2 of the greatest Greco wrestlers in American history that one guy could come out of that, and they had the overtime rule then. I mean, just your thoughts of being part of that war, because kids now, we have no problem getting kids watching that match and learning from it because it's so compelling.
Yeah, it was an amazing match, and that whole series was a great series, and me and Dennis were we were Olympic teammates, but we were also training partners. I was his training partner when he won the Worlds in '95, and we trained all the way through. I was about a 4-hour drive, so I would go up there and train, or he would come to my place and train, and as the weights converge, we ended up being at the same weight, and it was a great battle. And I actually watched the match again a couple weeks ago, and the intensity was really high. The pace was extremely high, and it was exciting. Even though how long it was, there were still some exciting moments in it, and it was heartbreaking. You can't lie. I wanted to represent the United States at another Olympics, and I really was still at the top of my game at that time.
That was a wonderful match. I mean,
it was a great match, and but one guy came out and he ended up winning the match, it's still, I don't look back on it, and I'm not sad about losing. I just, I look back and I'm proud that I competed the way I did, and I gave everything I had, and it's kind of my whole mantra is to be great, be the best you can, and leading up to it, I did everything right. I trained right, I was coached right, I peaked, I felt great, and sometimes it doesn't happen, but it was an amazing match.
So you work with youth athletes, it's for a living. I mean, you're a coach and you got a great club, and you've also been helping our senior and age group elite Greco guys to talk about the coaching role and how much you have learned as an athlete to let you become a good coach.
Yeah, I love coaching, and after I was done wrestling, Jake Deichler was from my hometown, and I was fortunate enough to coach him, and he made the Olympic team when he was 18.
Amazing, huh?
It was unbelievable, and for me, that was just kind of a side thing for me. But then that's when I decided that was my passion, was coaching and wrestling. Wrestling has always been my passion, but coaching, and so now that I'm coaching, it's. I still love the sport. I still love getting into practice every day and trying to teach the guys, not only from what I succeeded in, but really I can look back at my wrestling career and when wasn't I successful? When was I doing things wrong? When, my training, my off the mat things, so not only how you're successful, but how your weaknesses as well, and trying to teach these kids, and hopefully they don't make the same mistakes that I do, and hopefully they continue to improve and do the right things that I did. And I have a passion for it. I love my boys and girls that wrestle, and I love to be on the mat to see them succeed in their goals. I mean, to watch a guy win a junior national title or make a world team or win the worlds, I mean, that's very exciting for me. Or have a guy make it to the state high school tournament that train their butt off, and that's their level. And to me, that is very gratifying for me, and to see those guys so happy, it makes me happy.
Well, congratulations, Brandon. Well deserved. I know you and your family are going to have a good time this weekend, huh?
Thank you. I can't wait, and I got my family here, and it should be fun.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.